Hi there, I'm Ben, and welcome to the first part of my Bioshock Infinite Let's Platinum. If you followed one of my Let's Platinums before, then you'll know what to expect. If you haven't, they are full game walkthroughs from start to finish, getting every single trophy along the way. Essentially from 0 to Platinum. I'll be showing the whole game in its entirety apart from cutscenes and story moments. I've cut those out for time's sake. I'll also cut out any deaths and any times I restart a checkpoint to farm kills for a trophy. I will, however, fully explain when I'm doing this so you can as well. If you have the Platinums for Bioshock 1 and 2, then getting the Platinum for Bioshock Infinite is more like 2. There's not much in the way of backtracking, as the game is pretty linear. Once you leave certain areas, that's it, you cannot return. I will just mention this guide can be used by anyone playing on PS3 as well, but I will get some Season Pass bonuses at the start of the second video, which make the early game considerably easier. If you don't have the Season Pass on the last generation consoles, you won't get them. Everyone playing the Bioshock collection on PS4 or Xbox One will get them. They're on the disc. This guide is going to be a single playthrough of the game. That's all you need to do for the Platinum. You can start the game on the hardest difficulty right from the start with the help of the good old Konami code. There's actually a trophy for unlocking the hardest difficulty, 1999 mode, as well. Speaking of which, let's do that now. At the main menu, hover over main game and press up, up, down, down, left, right, circle and X, and you'll get a prompt saying that 1999 mode has been unlocked, and you'll also get the trophy Should Auld Acquaintance. I suppose that technically wasn't the Konami code, but you get the idea. From here you can just start a new game and choose 1999 mode without having to complete the game first. Now while the start of the game plays out here, I will just explain what we need to do for the Platinum. First and foremost, we need to complete the game on 1999 mode, which is basically a stripped down hard difficulty. As well as being difficult, there aren't any waypoints or anything. If you're following this guide, you won't need them anyway. As well as that, we need to be aware of the Scavenger Hunt trophy. This is for completing the game on 1999 difficulty without using a single dollar bill machine. Dollar bill machines essentially sell ammo and healing items, etc. We can use other vending machines in the game. The ones for Vigor and weapon upgrades are fine, and I'll point these out as we go. Now apart from that, we're free to do what we want. We can even die in this game as opposed to Bioshock 1 and 2. There is a Vita chamber replacement in the form of our companion Elizabeth. Whenever you die, she will resurrect you and you will have half health again. Now this does cost $100 every time it happens, so I'm going to advise against doing it in the early game until we have all the money-based trophies out of the way at least. In the late game, feel free to use this mechanic. In the meantime, just reload checkpoint whenever you die. Another thing, this game doesn't have manual saves. For that reason, we'll be abusing the checkpoint system to get the kill-based trophies out of the way while we can early on, so we don't miss anything and that we don't have to worry about them later on. As always, in the top corner of the videos is going to be the next collectible or next trophy, depending on what comes first. There are 3 types of collectibles we'll be finding in the game. These are Voxophones, there are 80 of those. Telescopes and kinetoscopes, they are bundled together, there are 37 of those, and then infusions, which there are 29 of. Only 25 of those infusions are the base game ones needed for the trophy. The 4 extra ones are the Season Pass bonuses I mentioned earlier. Most of the rest of the trophies are weapon and vigor related. We'll be switching weapons often, early on at least, to get all those trophies out of the way. Again, I'm going to let you know when we'll be going for each trophy and when to pick up new weapons, so don't worry, you won't miss anything. All that's left to say for this sort of briefing part is loot everything. We cannot use dollar bill machines and we need a lot of ammo to kill enemies with, and we also need $10,000, or we need to spend $10,000 for a trophy. So loot everything. You'll see me doing it, so you'll sort of know where to look anyway. Okay, so I'm going to skip forward in a moment. This is essentially the start here. We're going to get taken up to Colombia. I'm going to start the video again, or just phase in a moment, to when we are leaving this chair. We get into this chair and then we leave this chair. And this is where the game starts. This first area, the starting of Colombia here, is very simple. It's just easing you in and letting you take in the beauty of this game, basically. There are a few collectibles. There's 5 voxophones and 4 scopes. We're going to get the first Voxophone in a moment. It's in here. But apart from that, there's not really much. It's quite a quiet... I don't want to say chapter. This game isn't broken down into chapters like the first two was. So the videos are going to be kind of... I'm not actually sure how many videos are going to be yet. It's just sort of... I'm going to break once we leave an area and go into a new area. That's the only way I can sort of break it down. But this is quite quiet up until sort of 10 minutes before the end of this video. We are just walking around. There isn't any combat until sort of 10 minutes before the end. The trophies we're going to be working on, I'll just tell you this in a moment. Here's the first Voxophone off to the right hand side here. They all look the same. They don't actually have the title in them until you go and look in the pause menu, which is by pressing the touchpad. You can check all the Voxophones there. Some of the scopes here do have names. That's because this one is bear with me a moment, this is a kinetoscope. I'm just going to call them scopes. There are telescopes and there are kinetoscopes. Kinetoscopes are like movies. Here's Michael Douglas. The kinetoscopes are like old-time movies, and telescopes are just telescopes, but they all come under one trophy. There are 37 of a combination of the two, basically. And there's Voxophones, which there are 80 of, and then infusions. We don't get any of those in this first video, but we will at the beginning of the second video. But basically, we're going to move on here. The trophies we're going to get or start working on in this video are Industrial Accident, which is for killing 20 enemies with the Skyhook execution style. The Skyhook is the melee weapon of this game. You don't really use it. You're going to use it at the start here, and then once you get a weapon which is like 6 kills in, you probably wouldn't use it if you don't have to. But a Skyhook's execution is basically you melee an enemy, and then a little skull will appear, and then you hold triangle, which is melee, and he'll execute them. So it's basically when they're on low health. You can do this at any point. It doesn't have to be through melee. Anytime you get to an enemy with low health, hold triangle and it's going to execute them. We need to do that 20 times. We're going to get quite a few here. You could probably farm them all here if you wanted to, but it's not necessary. I'm going to show you a little bit of a farm. I do rewind a checkpoint, and I'll show you that later on, just to get a few of these kills, and some for for another trophy for Mind Over Matter. I'll go through that later on. We're just about to enter the beauty that is Colombia. This is I remember seeing this for the first time. Was it in 2013 when I first played this on PS3, and it's just mind blowing. It's even better on PS4. Anyway, another trophy we'll be doing is a real pistol for getting 25 kills with the broadside pistol. That's going to be again, it's another weapon. Once you get better weapons, you're just going to ignore. It's the pistol of the game. So we want to get 25 kills with that quite early on, so we can just leave it behind. Well-rounded, which is for using all 8 vigors. We only get 2, and I only use 1. We're going to get Possession and Devil's Kiss. Possession allows you to possess enemies and machines and get them helping you out. And Devil's Kiss is basically the flame vigor. They're called vigors this time round, but essentially they are just plasmids, the same as 1 and 2. It's exactly the same, they just have different names. So here's another scope. I'm going to say kinetoscope. I'm not going to say it for much longer. But yeah, you can see they have names as well. We do get some doubles later on. They do appear, it's weird. They do appear in different locations later on. Here's another Voxophone. Don't forget to pick that one up. More trophies. We're getting Vigorous Opposition, which is for 75 kills with vigors, or while something's under the influence or by the effect of a vigor. So if an enemy under possession kills another enemy, that counts as one of the 75. More for your money. You can try and get this one here, but it's not worth it. I'll just mention it though, and I'll point it out later on. Getting 3 enemies with a single trap 5 times. This is best done with the Murder of Crows vigor later on. Basically, with every vigor, you have like a quick fire. You press L2, and it will use its main sort of ability, or you can hold it, and it will have like a secondary ability. With a lot of the early ones, it is a trap. Sort of Possession and Devil's Kiss has a trap mode. and there's a bunch of enemies appear. I think there's 4 of them. You can do it there, but it's not. I'm just thought I'd mention it. It's not where I'm going to do it, but if you really want to get it out of the way, you can do. I'll point it out later on. Mind over matter, I've already mentioned. Is kill 20 enemies using possessed machines. You will be doing this a lot throughout the playthrough. It's just the way you're going to play it on this difficulty. It makes it easier. Whenever there is a machine, you want to have it working on your side, and I do actually rewind just to sort of show you what that's going to be like when I'm going to restart a checkpoint. I'm going to go back and redo things, and I'm going to explain sort of you do have to recollect all the voxophones and everything. So I'm just going to point that out early on while it's not all madness, just so you know and get used to it. There's also hazard pay for 10 environmental kills, which you can get in the same place as more for your money. But I'm not going to do that here either. There's a perfect place for it later on. It's just after a checkpoint, a lot later on. Again, though, I will point it out. You can get it here if you like. Collectibles, infusions, telescopes, kinetoscopes, Voxophones, been through those. Infusions are your upgrades. You can see here I'll just mention this next collectible says scope number 3. Doesn't have a name. That's because it's just a telescope. So be aware that if it doesn't have a name, it's just because it is a telescope, and it is going to be coming up in a moment. I have been scavenging as well. You may have noticed, like I'm going through everything. This is for the coins in the sofa, or in the cushion, should I say. That trophy, you need to go through or loot 200 containers. So you're going to see those get ticked off. Plus, we need a lot of money. We need 10,000. We don't want to run out of money. So just collect everything. Yeah, the infusions are upgrades. You have health. You have salt, which is your vigor. There's going to be a blue bar that appears later on. How much you can use your vigors. And then there's going to be a shield, which is the first thing we're going to upgrade, and it is going to be our health bar from now on. It's going to be above that. You can see the health bar in the top left there. That is just your health. When that runs out, you die. We're also going to have a shield, which does regenerate. Health doesn't regenerate. You need to eat food or get a medikit. So we're going to treat the shield as our health bar, and that's going to be the primary, and then the red health is going to be kind of a backup. We don't want that to run out. So as the shield runs out, we're going to retreat, let that come back, and then we're going to go in again and attack. So we're going to upgrade the shield to its maximum first. That's the first thing we're going to do, because it makes things so much easier. Here's another quick kinetoscope. So I've not been showing them. You can watch them if you like. You don't need to watch them for them to count. So yeah, at the beginning of the next video, there's going to be 4 infusions. So we don't actually get this. I'll just mention, we don't get this figure here. This is not where we're getting it. We're going to get it in a moment. You can do these fairground games. You are going to win money for doing them, so I would advise doing them. You basically just need to hit this devil 3 times with the possession. It's going to lift him up. This isn't possession. This is booking Bronco. I was just thinking to myself then. No, this is booking Bronco. This is one we don't get until later on, which lifts enemies into the air. Possession we're going to get in a moment. Then here's another one, which is just sort of a weapon tutorial. So infusion upgrades, we get 4 at the beginning of the next video. These are the bonuses for having the season pass. Because we have the collection, it includes all the DLC. We also get the season pass perks, which is amazing, and I didn't realize it until I started this. But we're going to go where we start the next video. We're going to get some infusions, and we're going to upgrade shield. And once we have shield, that makes this start of this game. The start of this game used to be fairly difficult, one of the more difficult parts. But because we get these upgrades very early on, we're going to have shield, and that just makes things so much easier. Allows us to get the simple trophies like industrial accident for getting the skyline executions, with the melee kills. Allow us to get into enemy groups and do that without having to worry too much about dying. Again, dying is going to cost $100, so don't do it. Restart the checkpoint. You can do it. You want to save your money up for later on, right at the end of the game. You can start using this revival thing that Elizabeth will do. It's going to cost $100. We need that money early on. We're going to be starting checkpoints instead. The checkpoint system in this game is not very generous. They don't happen too often, and anything you've collected afterwards will need to be recollected if you restart. So, like later on, there's going to be big sections you can go through, maybe 1 or 2 fights without hitting a checkpoint, and if you die, you're going to have to restart that checkpoint. You're going to have to redo these things. Maybe in those situations it may be worth taking that $100 hit. Obviously I'm going to go into that more once we get there. We should have a bit more money by then, by we're getting in those situations. But you're going to see in the top corner, I'll point it out next time it happens, but a little checkpoint thing will come up, and it doesn't happen that often. So here's a vending machine we can use. This is the Vigor upgrade, so we can't purchase this yet because we don't have enough money yet, but these are safe to use, and I will show you the dollar bill ones later on that aren't safe to use. Here's a handyman. We're going to meet those later on. They are tough. So here's the first Vigor possession. We need to use this. It's very conveniently placed next to this machine we need to possess to continue, but there you go. So it's L2 to use Vigors. There's only 8 of them in the game, and they're actually all very helpful, with the last one being one of the most helpful. It's basically a shield that makes one of the hardest fights in this game very easy if you use it correctly, which is what we'll be doing. So these are as important as your weapons. You could probably go the whole game just using Vigors without using weapons if you have the right setups. But obviously we're going to use weapons. They're a lot quicker as well, rather waiting for enemies to kill themselves. So when we use possession on an enemy, he will go and kill anything else, or try to kill, until he dies, or it sort of wears off. And when it wears off on an enemy, they will execute themselves, which is doubly handy. There's no reason not to use it on enemies. Now we're going to be doing executions while they're still weak enemies, but later on you can use it, and it's basically a free kill, and it's going to try and kill or take some of his guys with him while he's doing it. Here's these two. These are pretty cool little characters. We'll be seeing those a lot later on. Here's a dollar mill machine. Do not use these. Now it says, the trophy says, or stipulates, that you cannot purchase anything from a dollar bill machine. So in theory you could use possession, get the money out of it if you wanted. Just don't go near them. Just ignore them. They sell health, salt, which is the bottom corner there, the blue bar, which is, we've only got 2 Vigor uses there. That's where the split is. We're going to upgrade that later on, so don't worry about that. And they also sell ammo. So basically we've got to scrounge. Like the trophy is called scavenger hunt for a reason, and that's because we have to scavenge and just make do without. It's really not that bad. It's very generous later on, and we'll be getting some gear as well. This is the thing I haven't mentioned. There's gear in this game. There's hats. I think it's like a coat, trousers, boots, something like that. It's 4 different types. You equip it and you get perks off it. We'll be getting a lot of that at the start of, or some good ones at the start of the next video, where we get the infusions. Now, gear is random. We only need to equip 1 in each slot for a trophy. Apart from that, we don't need it for trophies, but I will be showing you where they all are. There just hasn't been any in this sort of video, this chapter. It's random. You might not get the same gear that I get. Now this is going to be a bit more difficult. Now you will eventually get all of them, hopefully, or the same ones. This is going to make things a bit more difficult with regards to a guide, because I might say, right, use this, and you might not have it yet. But I will try and work around that and make it as easy as possible and not have to rely on them too much. There are only certain instances later on, a lot later on, where we will need specific ones that are going to help with boss fights. Hopefully you've got them by then, but I will try and not rely on them too much. Now here's where the meat of the game starts. This is where the combat starts. I'm sure we've all seen this, even if you've not played this game. This is where things get pretty damn racist. So we're going to skip over that. You can see them in the back there. You can choose whichever option. It's up to you. But obviously you're going to choose throw it at the guy on the stage rather than the people tied up. And then we're going to get into this. And basically this is a skyhook execution. So I'm going to go him. He runs off. They're all melee. These first few, should I say, are sort of melee. It is quite annoying, the melee in this game, so another reason why you wouldn't necessarily use it. But if you see there, you hit him, you see that little skull appears, so you hold down triangle at that point. He will do one of these amazing executions. We just need to do 20, and again, checkpoint farming is a thing. So the checkpoint is there. It happened at this point. There's not another one. There is another one in a moment, which is the one I use. So weirdly, collectibles don't save when you restart checkpoint, but kill-based things do. So you're going to see me get some executions here. That's a pretty cool one. And then I'm going to go and carry on with the mission, or it's not a mission, is it? With the scenario. And then I'm going to restart checkpoint. I'm going to go through this point again in a minute. Well, it's not this point, it's once we're on a barge, so these won't appear again. So you want to be getting these executions done now. We want to forget about these later on, because we don't want to be going near enemies at all, because they do get a lot stronger. We don't want to have to bother with them. So here's the pistol. This is the broadside of pistol. So that is the checkpoint that just happened there, by the way. We'll be going back to that in a moment. This is the broadside of pistol. We need 25 kills with this. You can see it has a lovely gold skin, custom job to it. This again is a season pass perk. So if you're playing on PS3 or anything, your pistol's not going to look like this. I'm not 100% sure whether it actually makes it stronger, but there's the last Voxophone of the mission, by the way. I'm not sure whether it actually makes it strong. I think it may do. I definitely remember it being not as strong as this when I played it all those years ago. So here we're going to upgrade possession as well. Now you have been collecting coins, but there is a bag of coins next to this machine to allow you to purchase that upgrade. It allows you to possess machines as well. So here's the people are going to come in. They're going to start coming in. I was trying to hit the machine at the back there with possession, but it didn't work. Doesn't matter, I'm going to restart checkpoint in a moment anyway. Wow, that was pretty damn brutal. So this machine in front of us, I'm going to possess it in a moment. That's going to be for Mind Over Matter, getting 20 kills using possessed machines. As soon as you possess it, you kind of have to. These enemies are going to run up. There's 3 of them. This machine is going to take care of them. There they are. They're going to get dropped down. And then weirdly I get sort of this guy come up in a minute. Hang on, where has he gone? I'm just going to check for this crate, this barrel here. See what it is. We need to just find everything, so go through everything. Don't need to do this, I'm just doing it for fun. I don't know where this guy comes from. He's not supposed to be here. So I'm going to get rid of him. It's a free execution. And then I'm going to jump off this barge in a moment. I'm just going to check for some things. Don't know why I'm doing this, because I know I'm going to restart checkpoint in a minute. So I'm going to fade. I've restarted checkpoint. I've make sure to pick that Voxophone up in between the cages before, just before this, because we restarted the checkpoint. It doesn't count. All the kills have saved, but weirdly that doesn't. So we're going to go through this scenario again. You can see it's playing out slightly differently to what it did before. I don't get jumped by that last guy again. I'm going to just possess this, and I'm going to move on towards the next one. There is another gun turret later on, or just around the corner should I say. I'm going to possess that one as well. There is a mini boss fight coming up. It's with I forget the name of the enemy type. Basically it's the one who has Devil's Kiss. He's going to throw flame grenades at you. They seem a lot tougher later on, or just more annoying I suppose, but we're going to take care of him really quickly. He's not going to be a problem. So possessing that is just going to allow these ones here. There's some more enemies drop in. It's going to allow this turret to help with those. You can see the The Vigor count there is a lot higher than it should be with regards to how many I've killed. That's because I have restarted checkpoint and it has saved. So the turret's kind of missing. I don't know what it's doing. I don't know who it's shooting at, but it's missing this guy. So we're going to get some executions on him. Make sure to get... That was a pretty good shot, I must say. And then we're going to move on. Try and get past this place. So this first turret doesn't shoot at you as you walk past it. It should do, but weirdly it doesn't. Here's another machine we want to just ignore for now. We want to get this and possess it. That's us out of salt at the bottom, so we can't use Vigors anymore. So it's going to take care of these people. You see, I think that was 10 then. Mind over matter, 10 kills already with machines. So we're going to be getting a lot. I thought I'd just show you the restart checkpoint kind of thing. That's what we're getting used to doing. Don't do it too often, but we're going to just get some of the easier stuff out of the way, or not easier, but some of the more annoying stuff out of the way when it's easy, should I say. There, got it out. So here we're getting pistol kills. Pistol's actually pretty good in this game as far as game pistols go. You're going to see it take down this flame guy in a minute. So there hasn't been another checkpoint yet since the last one when the action started. So if you were to get killed by this flame guy or restart checkpoint for any reason, you're going to go all the way back there. You're going to have to collect that Voxophone again. You're going to have to do all that again. So try not to have to do it. That's why they charge you 100 for the resurrection, because it's so damn helpful and the checkpoints aren't. So we're going to go through here. Here's the guy. He does have a tank on the back of him, so you kind of want to aim at the back. It doesn't matter if you don't get it. He's going to explode anyway. I think he just made it easy. You can see David and Goliath there. I missed to mention that trophy. David and Goliath is boss base or mini boss based trophy. There's lots of them. Don't worry about it. It's basically story related, so you will be getting that. Here's the second Vigor. This is Devil's Kiss. I'm not going to use this for well-rounded. We'll be getting it later on, and we'll be doing combinations later on as well. We'll be doing the combinations trophy right near the end once we have all of the Vigors, and we're going to do it all and then just kind of restart checkpoint, so we don't have to worry about it. So yeah, you throw flame grenades, and then if you hold it, it makes a trap. So this is the point where I mentioned more for your money, the traps, and then hazard pay for the environments. I'm not going to do it, but through this gate here, enemies burst through, so you could set a trap in front of it, it would hit them, but there hasn't been a checkpoint, so if you I don't know why I shot that thing. I was supposed to throw a Vigor at it. Yeah, a Vigor possession. You could do the traps here. It is an easy place to get it, but the checkpoint hasn't been for a while, so you'd have to redo all those fights. Now you could do it and get all the skyhook executions out of the way while you're doing it, and get some pistol kills and things like that, and just get some of the early stuff done. But it's not necessary. I'm just letting you know that you can. There are some you see there's some oil pools here on the floor, so you can get the environmental kills. But again, got a perfect place to get that done later on near a checkpoint. Just wanted to let you know, if you're worried about these sort of things, just get them done if you want to, but you don't have to. Just thought I'd give you the option though. And that's this video pretty much done. This is the Blue Oyster Club, Blue Ribbon Club. Once we enter this is a new area. So this is going to be the cut-off point for this video. Try and keep about half an hour, hopefully. Some of them are going to be a bit longer, depending on how long the sections are. But yeah, I'm going to go through there. It's going to ask you do you want to leave this area. There is a reason for that, usually because you can't come back. So make sure you've got everything done. I'm just going to show you the 5 Voxophone things you should just make sure you've got them. You can still at this point go and get them if you haven't got them. So there, or the last one at least, that's the one you've probably missed if you have. So there they are, all 5 of them. Then I'm going to walk through the door, and that's going to be the end of the video. Right. If this video has helped, please like and subscribe and all that nonsense. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.